it's hot. That's right. If you live here in town, in Seattle, you share the pain. Well, only a little bit, because here in the store, it's worse. We sweat after hours with the door closed to bring you the very latest in the new comic books. Because why? Well,
I don't know why.
I was going to say, we're
honestly.
not even getting paid for this. I guess because we care. I guess we'll be nice like that, sure. But
one day we'll have air conditioning.
Yeah, one day. Well, actually, we do, but we can't.
We'll
have
actually need air conditioning in Seattle with global warming.
Yeah, right.
It's going so.
But with it being so warm, the best thing to do is sit inside somewhere cool or the shade and read comic books. And it being Wednesday, there are lots of new shiny things. This is the regular video where we'll be not talking about DC stuff, really. The DC Rebirth video that our very own Professor of Marvel, that's right, Professor of Marvel, did over DC there, which you can find right next to this video.
I'm now Dr. Will, baby expert, since it's a rebirth.
It's a rebirth thing. It's not a reboot. But anyway, yeah. Speaking of weird and Marvel, we're going to let Mr. Morgan here start it off.
Oh, you're putting this on me?
That's right. I'm going to just drop that right on you.
Well, sure. Okay. Yeah. Speaking of dropping in, over in the Vision, we've got the Avengers finally paying a visit to his family in Virginia. It's not gonna go well.
It took him 8 issues to get over
series.
there?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it took him like 6 issues to even show up. And real decompression hours over here. This has been a really good slow burn series from Tom King. You've probably read on the internet at this point like 5 billion times over why you should be reading this, and it's all true, all of it. So just go read it. Why not?
The Vision. The DC comics that we are going to talk about here, because I just totally lied. Wacky Raceland, the next Hanna-Barbera this is a reboot, kind of, yeah. Next Hanna-Barbera rebooting, featuring the post-apocalyptic Wacky Racers. This is Wacky Racers meets Mad Max. This is intense, to say the least. There's lots of giant monsters and other things to stop the racers traveling down the Uber Pass. Because, yeah, that sounds seriously intimidating. But Leonardo Manco, Ken Pontac bring you the very intense, very in-your-face, down and dirty Wacky Racers for the next generation. Check it out.
And I'm happy to say that I'm back. I had to take last week up because I was so distraught over the Steve Rogers revelation. I just needed a little therapy and a little time alone to cope with the Hydra revelation of Steve Rogers. I'm still not believing it. But in our Civil War II report this week, call me Colonel Marvel Harris, if you will. So just a quick thing, as you know, there's a new Inhuman in Melissus. He's got the power to see the future and have visions. But can those visions be trusted? Should we be using them? Obviously, because of everything that happened and the death of a hero and death of potentially another hero we don't know yet. Carol Danvers and Tony Stark are on opposite sides of what we should do with this power. Well, somebody who knows about power and responsibility is Peter Parker. You know, he had a really big part in the first Civil War. Well, you know, Peter Parker, he's kind of grown. He's got his own, he kind of rivals Tony Stark with his inventions and his own company. So he's going to kind of step in, and he's going to actually go one-on-one with Ulysses to try to figure out his visions and what we should do with that power. And some of that's going to come back to haunt him, and that's something that's going in his own life and career and what he's doing with his own friends and his villains. And it's Christos Gage and Travel Foreman. And there's also a very interesting kind of a what-if fantasy sequence with Peter Parker and Johnny Storm that's quite visual, and I'm just going to leave it at that. But just one of the many bonus surprises in this Civil War tie-in book. Are you speechless?
God, is it me again?
Yes, it's you again.
Oh, it's this heat. So, I have not just one, but 3 comics here. Yes, they're all technically the same title, but they're all great. 3 whole issues of The Fix here. In case you missed the first 2, we've got 3rd and 2nd printings of 1 and 2, and a new number 3. This time, Nick Spencer and Steve Lieber are taking their look at corrupt cops in Hollywood and aiming the lens at child stars. It's not gonna go well. Nothing goes well in comics. I don't know if you've noticed that at this point between Hydra Cap and Vision and his crazy murder robot family. It's all bad.
It's all bad. Because if it was good, would you really want to read about it?
Right, if it was all good, we wouldn't have a reason to keep rebirthing.
Right. It's got to get painful at some point, I'm telling you. Another one from Image, Renato Jones, the 1%, brought to you by Kyle Andrews. This first issue was double-sized, in-your-face, beat down on the rich action. This issue is choke on the death here. More issue action. This is literally gigantic sound effects, large guns, shiny cars,
A lot of blood.
bloody people. And there's some funniness with Donald Trump.
What?
Yeah. If you want to call it funniness.
Off-brand Donald Trump.
Yeah, off-brand
but
Donald Trump.
It's definitely Donald Trump.
Yeah, very topical here. But the first issue was a lot of fun. Always like this guy's stuff. More great things from Image Comics.
Let loose the dogs of war. Here is the gods of war. Pardon me for that little pun there. Wrong analogy there. But Dan Abnett is going to tell. This is a tie-in series set in Civil War II. You know, with every big event, you know, once in a while there's some tie-in books. Have you heard of that concept?
No.
Once in a while.
First week
once in a great
after,
while,
right?
But so anyway, this is cool if you're a fan of Hercules and Amadeus Cho. Dan Abnett tells a story of it. Kind of sets in, if you saw Civil War II, the big event that Ulysses kind of helped stop. This kind of sets in that, and Hercules is trying to find his place. How does a god fit in with its power of changing fate and chasing destiny? And there's a new generation of gods that kind of approach him, and then he's going to try to get the old gods back together. If you remember, the Gods of War was part of his storyline from, I guess it was before the all new, all different Secret Wars Marvel now. So a lot of fun with big Jercules, as they call him. His guys are calling that. They kind of give him a nickname. It kind of gets him going. You don't want to make him mad. You want to make him angry. You wouldn't like him when he's angry.
Okay. Well, I'm not even going to comment on that one. I got a blast from the past here with Vertigo. They have the second volume of Flinch, their old school horror anthology, out today. This has work from Saad Ribic, Bruce Timm, Tim Truman, Frank Quitely, all kinds of amazing artists doing short horror stories, which I don't even need to tell you that those go badly, because, I mean, how does a short horror story ever end? It's like the Twilight Zone via 90s DC of Vertigo. It's really, really great, and it's got covers by Phil Hale, and Phil Hale is the best.
And they've never collected it. This is the very, very first time they've ever collected those, which are very cool. This week, the second issue of the weekly Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Bebop and Rocksteady Destroy Everything. You might have heard about that movie that came out a couple days ago, I think. This is the second issue by Nick, with awesome cover by Nick Pitara. We got Ben Bates, Sophie Campbell, Yanni, and Bill Crabtree providing colors in here. And this one sees the return to Sophie Campbell's really, really cool, very cute, kind of prehistoric dinosaur stuff. And oh my god, you have caveman. Okay, wow. And is that a Krang?
Baby Krang.
Oh crap. Alright, these Sophie Campbell pages are brilliant. These are really, really awesome. Lots of fun stuff here. Ben Bates and Dustin Weaver doing the story. Very, very excited for another issue of this.
My next pick is All New X-Men. This is part of Apocalypse Wars. Perhaps you saw X-Men Apocalypse. If you want to know a little bit about his origins back in ancient Egypt, this is it. I think Dennis Hopeless and Mark Bagley are doing a great job with this. It's kind of some of the original All New X-Men from the 60s or in the future, with Idy of Generation Hope and young Evan, who I love. I always loved Kid Apocalypse because he's this young kid who could potentially grow up to be like this evil, immortal villain, but he's kind of has a second chance. And so what happens when he confronts himself? Yes. Let me break this down for you. In the Bendis era, the modern day Beast brought the original X-Men into the future, and now young Beast is doing it again, except he's going into the past. Beast will just not quit messing with time.
What? Can we get No More Beasts, maybe?
But we love it. I mean, that eventually that's going to be no more time travel. But Beast, he does kind of cool stuff, and he sets good storylines. So once again, it's what will Evan do when he comes face to face with himself? Who becomes, the great evil Apocalypse. So what will happen with that? We'll see. And in about 2 or 3 years, Beast will send somebody forward or back in time again.
Or out of time?
He never
entirely
learns.
Oh, man. I have one last book for you here. Favorite of ours, Island from Image Comics. Brandon Graham and Emma Rios' anthology series. Back from its break. There's been a couple issues since then. There's an awesome Johnny Christmas story in the last one, along with Malachi Ward and Matt Sheehan's ancestor. And this has the conclusion of Simon Roy's Habitat, which is awesome. If you like cannibals, if you like weird, geoforming, terraformed wastelands and trees and sweet mech stuff, read this comic. It's also got some dude named Michael DeForge, who I think he's big in like the indie scene. I don't know, all those art school
I don't know about
hipsters
indie
like him a
comics,
lot.
man. No, if it's not Marvel or DC, I don't.
And there's too many abstract shapes and things, and
Yeah.
like the colors are all flat and crap. I don't know, man.
There's none of that like real awesome DC coloring and lighting.
Yeah, really. It needs more shine. There's also a few sweet pages of Ben Sears art in here. I always love to see his stuff around.
Yeah, I don't know why, but the Simon story reminds me of like Logan's Run, to a way.
I
don't
love
know
Logan.
why,
I can see that.
But yeah, I really like that stuff.
Carousel is a lie.
Huh?
Carousel is a lie.
My last pick, another one from Image. The fourth and final issue, at least of this volume, of Headlopper. Andrew McLean's super awesome, Conan-inspired, Hellboy-inspired, just really, really fun barbarian fantasy comic. Does follow up, or finishes up in this month. We've got Norgal finally facing the evil, treacherous king and his kind of jackass kid.
Yeah, that kid is
Totally
a jackass. He's the worst.
He is really bad. But after Norgal survived the twin sisters last issue, which was really, really cool, he and the Blue Witch Agatha, you know, try to survive here, and Agatha, of course, just causes more problems as usual, but sometimes saves the day. But there will be more Headlopper, which is very cool. So very excited for more great stuff from Image.
And my final pick of the week, hey, it is, June is Pride Month and celebrations across the country where we celebrate GLBT rights and victories. And here's an old school England, jolly old England adventure with a new twist on Robin Hood and his merry men. All of Robin Hood and his merry men are gay heroes back in jolly old England. And there's two stories for one, and it is Robert Rhodey and Jackie Lewis. I really love the art in this. And there's even a little part about life in England back in the day if you were secretly gay back then. So a new twist on Robin Hood and his merry men. Big adventure, but with a gay twist.
And I think that's about it.
Is that it?
Yes,
That is.
please.
Oh my
That has
God,
to be
we're
it.
back.
All right, before we melt, we're going to end, and we will see you next week when hopefully it's not as melty. Hopefully. Okay.